Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Monday. It's June 16th. This will be our chart listen for the day. And you can see on our daily chart another big bullish day today. We had that sell-off on Friday that was probably mostly related to the Middle East news, I would think. And as of today, we took it all back, really. So looks like we did get a close, a convincing close outside of this channel. It looks like now though, so we could go ahead and top out now. It just depends. We'll have to see. But we didn't notice we bounced right off the midline of the envelope bands, and that midline is the same thing as the midline we usually follow. It's a 21 EMA. So these other lines are based on some other stuff, but this midline, which is that purple one, dashed one in the middle there, is that's a 21 bar EMA. So we bounced right off of that on Friday and turned back up again today. Closed considerably higher. Um, Traded higher than Friday too. We didn't close higher than where we traded up to there. So uh, mostly bullish day though. We trended up for a long time and then we just kind of had a mild correction after that point. So today was turnover day, or I'm sorry, roll day. We're supposed to roll to the next contract, so we'd be rolling to the September 25 contract now. And generally, sometimes it's gotten where people roll more now, I think, than they used to. Sometimes I'd wait 2 or 3 days before I'd roll because the volume wouldn't roll. But it rolls by, I would say by early afternoon, mid afternoon, it starts to have more volume in the other contracts. So I traded this morning and I did trade the uh, June contract, but by this afternoon, it looked like you should have been trading the September contract. And what I normally do is I'll open them both of them and I'll just watch them. And when the volume seems to be flipping over, I'll flip over. I mean, I don't think it would have killed you if you traded either contract today, although there were more trades in the end on the September contract than there were the June contract. So let's flip over there. I'll show them both to you. And here's our September contract. You can see what it looks like. And the other one's not going to look much different at all, to be honest. I think there's a little more volume later in the afternoon. But let me show you it real quick. And here it is. And you can see the volume did start to slow down here late in the afternoon. And we didn't get quite as much volume as we did in the other contract. So, and you can see there's a few more trades on the other contract than there was this one. So since this is the chart I traded, I'm going to go over this one and then we'll flip over to the other one and we'll look at it real quickly too. But there was a quick, easy trade on this contract early this morning, just after the 8 regular session opening. There was some news item at 7:30 this morning, so I marked that part off. You'd want to sit tight. But quickly thereafter, there's a second entry right off the key entry point, and I think it's 10 ticks. Yep, 10 ticks, relatively low risk. So it's a great place to enter right there, and it just takes off. And I don't know if you'd have written all this out, but if you did, you could have got a nice runner out of this. And unfortunately, there's just not another chance to enter. You could argue there's a triple test here, but you got to go long at the high of the day at that point, and that's never really a good idea. Now, there was a higher low here, but I think we've moved quite a bit. We've already had a break of your trend channel here now, a close outside, and we've run to a new high. We could get another leg up because a lot of times you'll get 2 legs up, but you don't know what's going to happen thereafter. And we just kind of chop up, and there's another second entry here, but the signal bar doesn't qualify. It ends up working, but you just can't take that risk. And then we turn down here, and we actually make a lower high here and start down. And somebody sent me their thing. They went long right here. And I could see why you might like that. If you're counting at the highs, you got to realize we had a break way up here and a lot of movement to a new high. And so there's a good chance we're going to reverse here or at least go sideways. So you need to be, from this point on, you need to be very picky about your longs. And technically on my chart, this is not even a second entry. Notice the new high, and it went up, and then we came back down again and then went higher. So this looks similar to a continuation of that first move up. It didn't really tick lower. So, but technically, I think you could count that as a second entry. But even if you don't, and you come back here, you might say, okay, there's a second entry here. But notice notice this low is lower than that low. And then the low here is even lower than that one. And we got a lower high. So it looks like we're reversing. So for me, especially if you draw this downtrend channel, that's enough reason to say, okay, um, I'm not going to go long here. I'm going to wait and see, wait for a higher low or something better, because you're going long right into the trend line, and you see what happens. It just turns down. The key here is you still get 5 ticks. So if you took this, it should have been a winner. But the person that asked me about it had a 1 tick of slippage as well, and so they didn't get their 4 ticks and they got stopped out. And that's unfortunate. I think that's probably a rare thing in the ES to get stopped out on a trade, a good trade, because you only got your 6 ticks that you need, and you had a tick of slippage. So I think that's rare. So I'd probably mark that up to some bad luck, because there are reasons. There's a triple test. You could say, okay, it looks like a second entry, but there looks like there's 2 legs there too. And sometimes you do get 2 legs in the second leg or the first leg or something. So there's some reasons to say, hey, you might want to go long there. I mean, even here, that signal bar, I don't really like it. So that's probably another reason not to take this trade. Now, I want to say maybe it looked better on his chart. We'll flip over to that other chart in a minute. But I wanted to go over this because I know this one person asked about it in the forum. So, but you could almost argue that there's a triple test there. But notice how we made a lower low there and another lower low there, and we got a lower high. That's starting to become a downtrend. And another lower high that goes lower, and we're in a downtrend. And you've already had your break and multiple moves up. So once you get this break and multiple moves up, every new swing that you're interested in going long in becomes more becomes more risky and more dangerous, especially when you made a lower high here than this high and a lower low here than this low right here. So there's some reasons to skip that trade, and even then it still should have worked. But if you got to tick a slippage or 2 in there, then you had a loser there, unfortunately. So so I don't know that I would worry too much about the slippage, because that's rare. I think that's some bad luck, but I don't think it's the best entry, especially if you look at that signal bar. And I want to say his signal bar might have qualified. It looked better than that one. But I don't like this trade on my chart and wouldn't take it. Then we make another lower high here, and then we get another lower high even here, but there's just no entries. And finally you get a clear second entry here with a nice signal bar right off the key entry point. Plus you got your break of this channel working up, move to a new high. So everything, this is like an ideal second entry, and that's a quick, easy move. Then we bounce and we actually get a break here. I don't see any setup. So there's actually a second entry short when it breaks below that bar, but it's an inside bar. Don't take that. And then you get another clear second entry here. Notice you're working up first entry, second entry, but you don't have a new high. We're not back to the trend line. So the move up might not be over. And notice it does come back here before it does turn down. Still doesn't make a new high though. And this is just a first entry. So you might say, okay, there's a double top there. I don't think it quite qualifies as a triple test. So I don't think you can take that trade. But notice we had the break way back here. We made multiple lows, and then we get this move working down, close outside, move to a new low, and then when it breaks above that, it's a second entry long, and you're a little ways from the EMA. I like going long on that one because maybe you're going to catch the bottom here. And then there's another triple test by the time you get here. Notice 1, 2, 3. And you could even argue there's a hidden second entry there. It is just after 2:30, but I think it's close enough. If you wanted to take that, you could. And there's another entry. This one took a minute to move higher, but you would have got your scalp with no problem there. And so, there's only 2 or 3 trades here on this chart. But let's flip over to the other one. Okay, here's the other chart. And you can see there's a few more trades here. And you can see, even, let's zoom in here. We still had that triple test here. The second entry didn't, where was that second entry? Was this it here? I think this was it. Yeah, the second entry. You didn't get a signal bar on this one. At least on my chart I didn't. And then here's the one that failed. It's not even a triple test here, but you can see the signal bar is probably fine here. And this may be what his looked like. Actually he entered here, I think. So, but you can clearly see there's a second entry right here, but and that signal bar is okay, but you're still in this downtrend, and I think you got to wait for a break and a new low, which we get right here. And there's actually 2 legs back with a new high because it's higher than that one. So that would be a second entry long too. So on this chart, I really like this setup. And again, you can see it gets just enough. It gets the 6 ticks. So if you had a tick of slippage, you're still in trouble. So, but I do like the setup on this chart much better than I did the other one, because you got a clear triple test. You had your break of this down channel and a new low. Now, there's still another move up here with no retest of that. So you could count this as all as a move down for a retest, but you may want to draw this anyway. But even if you do draw it down, you get a close outside and a new low all in one bar here. So it still qualifies on this chart where it didn't really look that good on the other chart. And so, and then you get a little failed break lower. I think you have to wait on the higher. You may take this first move, but again, you're always better to wait on the higher low to prove that we're reversing. And so I like going long there on just a failed breakout of that support across there. And then we have another triple test right here with a nice signal bar, and it confirms that trend line as well. And you can see that trend line working down there. Just go short right there, and you get another nice move. This is all too congested. There's no setups here. If you've got a good signal bar here, I think if you drew your trend channel, you actually got your trend channel up, break, new high, but you just don't get a good signal bar. This is all, there's no entries there. And now you get your break, but that's just a first entry. And then you get a second entry here, but it's an inside bar, and it's not a good signal bar. It doesn't qualify for an entry anyway. And so no entry there again. Now you've had your break and a new low, then you get a first entry, and you can see the channel working up. Actually, you probably should, you might just start it there like so. I think it fits better like that anyway. And so now you got your break, but you didn't quite get a new high. It's really tempting to enter there. I don't even know if it would have worked. Yep, see, it only gets a point. So if you entered there, you get burned. But that is not a second entry because, well, actually, I take that back. It would be a second entry because you do get a new low here, but it's first entry. So it is a second entry, but you've already had your break and new low, and you don't have a retest of the high on this move up yet either. So notice it tries to come up again and still can't. That's what you would want to wait on, another test of that, just to prove out that you weren't going to make a new high. And but unfortunately, this is your signal bar, and this is another inside bar, so you can't go short there. Now it does come back here, and you get a triple test across here. I don't like that signal bar. I don't think you can go short there, but this breaks higher first and fails and turns down. If you understand what's going on there, maybe you go short there. I marked it red. It probably should be green. It's real close because you do get a close outside and a new high all in one bar, so that takes care of the trend channel working up. You do get a triple test, and so there's some reasons to take that short. And like I said, you could argue for it to be green. It's close, but I'll leave it like it is. Then you run down, make another new low, close outside of that channel, move to a new low, and a second entry long right there with a nice signal bar, plenty of room back to the EMA. You may not have gotten in that one because it gaps over, but it's still a nice move. Then we're just chopping around, and it comes back down and tests that low yet again, and it's after 230, but it's just like 232 or something. So if you really wanted to take that trade on another test, you could, if you like the trade. And it looks like we're about to reverse here, or at least going to put in a bottom, temporary bottom, which we do, and that would have been another nice move up. And that was it. So there just weren't a lot of trades today. It's a rollover time, and that sometimes will give you funky days like this that aren't the best trading days. And we've already had some low volume and not many setups anyway, so this just contributes more to it. So, but this chart was definitely better in the afternoon than the other one was. So it is what it is. But anyway, I'm not going to beat around the bush on this one. I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow, as the rollover continues, things will pick back up, I hope. Maybe we won't have any crazy news. We'll have to see what's going to happen in the Middle East. But that could just be aware that something crazy over there could happen, and that could spark the market to do anything crazy, especially sell off or something. So just be, when you trade, follow the rules. Always always. I can't say this enough. Always trade with a safety stop and follow the rules. Put it one tick below your signal bar, and that way, no matter what happens, you're not going to have a big loss. If you're wrong or something, if there's a tender spark and World War III starts and the market tanks, you're going to get stopped out where you should have got stopped out anyway, and it's not going to kill you. You're going to live to fight another day. So always make sure you're trading with a safety stop. I mean, now it's even more important, but it's always important. There's never a time when that's not important. Anybody trading without a safety stop or moving your stop, you're just living on the edge, and it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time till you're going to get burned and you're going to blow your account or lose a lot of money or whatever. Just don't do it. Always trade with a safety stop and always follow our safety stop rules. Your safety stop goes one tick above or below your signal bar, depending on which way you're entering, of course. If you're going long, it's one tick below your signal bar. And if you're going short, your safety stop goes one tick above the signal bar. Simple as that. If you do that every time, the worst you're going to do is take a loss. You're not going to destroy yourself. You're not going to blow an account. You're not going to get wiped out unless you're trading on peanuts. And if you are, you probably don't have enough money to fund your account anyway. You shouldn't be trading live anyway. So, but yeah, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.